morning to everyone. Welcome to Creative Mornings Charlottesville. I am Corey Price. I'm the host of Creative Mornings here, and we are so happy to have you all on. You might get a surprise visit from my puppy, who just made a surprise visit right now. So bear with me as somebody wants my attention. All right, I'll go ahead and share my screen and get us going. Oh boy, all the things. And we've got the rainbow spiral of death. You know, it couldn't be Zoom without that. Now we're in good shape. There we go. Okay, now we're cooking. Got too many things open on my computer, I guess. So welcome. You all have done a great job at participation, but participation is encouraged. There's emojis. You can, if something really resonates with you during the talk, you can use the chat and say, yeah, I love that. Or, oh, that's great. Or, oh, thank you for saying that. We love engagement here. We always like to start with a group photo. So if you would like to be a part of that, go ahead and turn your camera on. I was going to try to get my puppy to be in this photo, but that's okay. She has now decided to go chew on something. But if you've got your if you've got your cat or your dog or your friend or your anything, favorite book, coffee cup, bring them in. We'll take a couple group photos. All right. Hey, we got a Courtney and I think that's a Kristen sideways. Fun. All right, everybody ready? And 1, 2, 3, cheese. And I'm a photographer. I gotta take a couple, make sure we get it. And ready, 1, 2, 3, cheese. All right, we're golden. Thank you all. So Creative Mornings is in 223 cities in 67 countries with 27,000 attendees per month, 9,600 talks online, 11.6 million video views. So it's truly an expansive organization, and we're really excited and proud to be a part of that in our small yet powerful city of Charlottesville. Our theme this month for April is Kismet. And Creative Mornings has a global sponsor, MailChimp. MailChimp, in collaboration with It's Nice That, have created Movers and Makers, which is a new series that's shining the spotlight on creatives as they share stories, strategies, and secrets behind their business growth. So if that is of interest to you, you can check that out online. And we are especially thankful for our local partners who are Worth Higgins and Associates, Ting, The Fralin, Willow Tree, UVA Arts, The Bridge, and New City Arts. So thank you all, as always, for making this happen. We always have some announcements. So Maureen wasn't able to make it today, so I will share hers first. So Soup is a twice-a-year event where 4 artists give a quick pitch on a creative project that they're seeking funding for. The project should be able to be shared publicly in some way, and the artists must be from Charlottesville or their surrounding counties. All sorts of artists, writers, dancers, filmmakers, musicians, performance artists, and makers are encouraged to apply. There are some new things this year. So the top 4 artists selected will each be guaranteed $100, and the winner will receive at least a $3,000 grant thanks to Ting, Comfy Art, and Soup ticket purchases pool to create the artist grant. The deadline to apply is April 11th at 11:59 p.m. And we've got the link to apply there in the chat if you're interested or know of an artist or a creative in your life that would be. Right, next I have the Fralin, and I don't know if I've got someone on from there. So I'll just share what they sent us. So they've got several events upcoming in April. So Thursday, April 14th, excuse me, Ellen Bayard read and lecture on the arts of Asia, the tactile and playful world of Ting fashion. And excuse me, so I've got something in the back of my throat there. Then on April 19th at noon, Beyond Pictorialism, Early 20th Century Photography and Fine Arts. And then a couple more events towards the end of the month. Saturday, April 23rd is the Alternative Futures Sojourner Saturday special with Hannah Catterin, assistant curator. And April 29th, the final Friday of the Little Museum art opening. So plenty of wonderful things to go over to the Fralin and check out. The next, we've got Jeremy for Willow Tree and the Bridge.
Yeah. Also, I agree, Hadley. Hannah is amazing. So Willow Tree Apps is a digital product consultancy based in a lot of cities, including Charlottesville, Virginia. And we are hiring across the board for designers, engineers, accounting folks, marketing folks, pretty much any sort of office job you can think of. So if you are feeling in the market for a new career, check out willowtreeapps.com/careers and see what we have open.
All right. And next for the Bridge.
And the Bridge. So Revel is our mostly annual spring party / fundraiser. We took off a couple years for maybe obvious reasons, but we're back with Camp Revel on May 7th, which is going to be summer camp themed, which is exciting. So it's going to be at Visible Records down on Broadway this year, which means a lot more space than our Belmont Gallery, more outdoor and indoor space for folks to party in. So I will post the link in the chat, but you can buy your tickets at thebridgepai.org/revel. And then the current exhibit in our gallery is Face to Face International. So we've been doing the face-to-face show for a few years now, and normally it's getting Charlottesville-based artists to do portraits of members of the Charlottesville community. But this year we broadened it internationally. So it's still Charlottesville-based artists, but the subjects they were painting were from our sister cities in France, Italy, Ghana, and Guatemala. So artists got to get to know these folks around the world and make a portrait of them that will be sent to them at the end of the show. And our speaker today, Ramona, was actually one of the artists in the program. So that's in our gallery. I'm not sure what the hours are, but you can also see the entire show from the windows if you find yourself walking around Belmont.
All right, thanks, Jeremy. I have a swap hat from my Girl Scout camp days. It's not quite summer camp, but maybe that might make an appearance at Revel if I can get it in time. Anywho, some quick announcements from us. We are looking for a volunteer to join our team to help us with social media. We would love to just be able to reach more people and share more about our past speakers, quotes, that sort of thing. So if that is something you dig, we'd love to have you. And it's really a light, creative way for us to expand ourselves and grow our team. So if you're interested, shoot us an email, charlottesville@creativemornings.com. All right. And then also, if you're new to Creative Mornings and you'd like to keep in touch with us, you can find us on Instagram and Facebook. Excuse me while I get rid of my jealous dog for a second. Instagram and Facebook at CMCVL_CVL, Creative Mornings Charlottesville. And we have a newsletter that we send out the start of the month to share who our upcoming speaker is and our theme, so you can keep in touch with us that way. We did have a 30-second pitch this morning, but they weren't able to make it. So I'll share really quickly. It's the Startup Studio for UVA. If you know Debbie White, they've got another webinar coming up I think maybe next week on the pricing your work as an artist. So if you're interested for that, it's Startup Studio UVA, and you can Google it and get that link. All right, before we dig into our talk for the day, we like to have someone read our virtual manifesto. So I wanted to ask if there's anybody this morning who would be interested in reading that for us. You can raise your hand and I'll see you on the little participant screen. You can raise your hand if your video's on, or say something in the chat. I see hand raised. Lee, go for it.
Do it. Okay. Everyone is creative. A creative life requires bravery and action, honesty and hard work. We are here to support you, celebrate with you, and encourage you to make the things you love. We believe in the power of community. We believe in giving a damn. We believe in face-to-face connections and learning from others in jazz hands, virtual claps, and virtual snaps. We bring together people who are driven by passion and purpose, confident that they will inspire one another and inspire change in neighborhoods and cities around the world. Everyone is welcome.
Thank you so much, Lee. All right. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce our speaker this morning. Oh, go back. I think I lost my bio, so give me 1 second while I pull up the bio. Oh, we missed a month, so trying to get back into my online hosting groove. All right, here we go. So Ramona Martinez is a visual artist, writer, zine publisher, arts organizer, and country music songwriter. Her faith in the divine is part of all of the work she makes. She's currently working on a hand-carved Virgin Mary oracle deck. So please join me in welcoming Ramona.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for coming this morning. I'm gonna fire up my PowerPoint. Hopefully my fan won't be too loud. This computer, I think it's from 2014, so we'll see how this goes. Actually, I'm gonna share my screen first. Okay. Okay, cool. Can everybody hear me okay? Just wanted to make sure. Cool, great. Awesome. Okay. Have you ever gone through a period in your life when you became obsessed with something? So obsessed that you get lost in it for hours and you have to physically force yourself to walk away so your life doesn't fall apart? I have experienced this a few times myself, but nothing quite as strongly as, oh, that didn't work, spacebar, hold on. There we go. The tin whistle. When I started playing the tin whistle at age 27, I literally could not put it down. I would sit and practice for 3 hours and enjoy every minute of it. I became really good, really fast, and I learned 50 tunes in a year and a half. And this was somewhat of a miracle because even though I've been a musician my whole life, I've always hated practicing. So was I destined to become a tin whistle player? Well, I definitely think I was, but not for the reasons that you might think. In 2019, I went to the Catskills to attend a week-long Irish music camp, and I was super excited about it for two main reasons. One, I really wanted to find an Irish boyfriend. And two, I was super excited to be able to take a week of lessons with my personal tin whistle idol, a Miss Kathleen Keneally. So there's sound on this. We'll find out if it works or not. If it doesn't, it's fine. Here we go.
Action.
I just wanted to play it to the part where she winks at me because I died when that happened. She is so cute. Okay, to my delight, only one other person was enrolled in her advanced whistle class, and she and I became fast friends. Her father was also a great whistle player, and like many musicians, Kathleen had grown up in that world since she was a little girl. There was no better person to learn from, and no better person to set me up with that Irish boyfriend I was looking for.
Action.
No! Okay. Kathleen wanted to know when my last relationship had ended. I told her I had just broken up with someone a few months before, and she told me she could still see the hurt in my eyes about it. You know who's really good at helping with that, she said? The Virgin Mary. About 7 years ago, she told me, my husband died suddenly, and my mother soon after that. I was in so much pain that I stopped going to church, and I stopped praying. But one day when I finally felt like I could muster up the strength to go, I went to a service, and there was a pilgrim from Bosnia who was teaching. He was from Medjugorje, where the Virgin had been appearing to him for many years. And he told us that the Virgin Mary would say the same thing to him every time she appeared. If you only knew how much I loved you, it would move you to tears. Kathleen looked into my eyes when she told me this, and I started to cry. She told me that the day after the service, she was walking her dog and decided to start praying the rosary for the first time in over a year. My dog took a poo, she said, and I bent down to get it, and in the grass, glimmering in the sun, was a medal of Our Lady of Medjugorje, the same Virgin that had appeared to the pilgrim the day before, or in the service the day before. Despite Kathleen's suggestion that I needed to heal first, I did actually end up falling in love with someone on that trip. Someone who, perhaps not so coincidentally, had written a book on how to pray the rosary. Sitting here with you today, I can't say that I ever saw that man again, and I barely practice my tin whistle anymore. But that was the summer I began to know the Holy Mother. When you pray the rosary, you repeat a series of prayers while meditating on the life of the Virgin. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee, says the angel to the Madonna. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. The first time I sat down to pray these words, I didn't just think about how scary it must have been to have an angel appear in your room, but the relief that she must have felt to know that her life had meaning and purpose, even greater than she could have ever imagined. Putting myself in her shoes at that moment, I wept. As my spiritual life began to blossom, so did my art. You see, I had only started making art 4 years prior to this. Someone had given me a copy of Drawing with the Right Side of the Brain, and so I had seen the clumsy early drawings of Van Gogh, and I knew that with dedication and practice, I would be able to learn how to draw, and that's what I did. Here are some of my early drawings from 2015 and 2016. Then in 2017, Sorry. Then in 2017, I started to printmake, and this was my first print. All this work was actually created before the words of the Virgin made me cry at Irish music camp. She was actually already there, knocking on my door. But here's what happened to my art after I opened the door. This piece here, which I guess conceived of in December of 2019, but then ended up painting in 2021, was a turning point for me. Our Lady of Anti-Fascism was an apparition that had not exactly appeared to me, but dropped in my brain fully formed. Masked and with her arms open, I wanted to show that the Holy Mother is always on the side of the oppressed, and that resistance to fascism is based in a fierce love of all humanity. That most of the work that anti-fascists do is organizing resources and working to provide for our communities. There is a steadfastness in the love of the Virgin, not conditional based on your religion, your gender, your labor, nothing. She loves us because she knows no matter what we or others may have to say about it, that we're worthy of that kind of love. I think even the most seasoned and hardened anti-fascists have to admit their resistance is based on their love for mankind. Is it a coincidence that this resistance and the Holy Mother share the symbol of the rose? Bury me under the shade of a beautiful flower, the flower of the partisan, we could write to one another. If you only knew how much I loved you. Bella ciao. Love is, in fact, the next part of this story, a love that began as many first 20th century romances do on Instagram. In February of 2021, I began chatting with and fell in love with a man from New Jersey named Chris, who had dropped out of Catholic seminary a year prior and had reinvented himself as a tarot reader. The Virgin Mary was a big part of why he had wanted to become a priest, and after seeing my work online, he suggested we collaborate on a Virgin Mary oracle deck together. For those of you who don't know, an oracle deck is a deck that one uses for divination to get answers from beyond. Our deck is a way of connecting to the Holy Mother by asking her a question and drawing a card from the deck for an answer. Each card is based on one of her apparitions or traditional title. Because Chris and I both understood that the Virgin was far more multidimensional than she had been given credit for, we wanted this deck to act as a reclamation of the Virgin as the mother of all. We wanted to remind people of her ferocity, her bravery, her interest in justice, and her absolute acceptance of every single person. It felt as though the Virgin Mary herself had brought us together to create this work. My art became more focused and expressive than ever before. I want to be clear, this artistic interest in Marian iconography has not just given me an endless well of inspiration to draw from, but it has fundamentally altered the way I view reality itself. Getting to know the Holy Mother as well as the saints through my art and through prayer has not only made me understand not only are we not ever alone, but that our life serves a far greater purpose than we could ever hope to imagine or understand. I find myself saying and believing things that would make 15-year-old Ramona gag. They might make some of you gag right now. For example, I believe in the power of prayer. Jesus Christ. God has a plan for you. Are you fucking kidding me? I believe in miracles. So where are you from, you sexy thing? It's dead. Trust me when I say that I have got countless stories of saints that have been dead for 800 years, giving me signs so on the nose that I have shouted out in disbelief. One time I prayed to St. Francis for help in a desperate situation, and I subsequently, there's St. Francis, found his icon at the Bridge Free Store within 24 hours, was gifted a bottle of wine that said Franciscans on it, and got lost and ended up making a U-turn on St. Francis Avenue. Let's just say I stopped believing in coincidences a long time ago. You may be asking yourself, what the fuck does this have to do with me? Trust me when I say I am well aware of how religious I've somehow become over the course of my short life. But I want you to realize that you don't even have to think about fate or kismet or a divine plan or God or anything like that to improve your chances of living a life full of meaning. You can make kismet work for you. And here's the secret. All you have to do is let yourself become obsessed with something. If you become obsessed with something, I want you to do whatever you possibly can to pursue it. If something lights you on fire, I want you to make room in your life for that thing. Because I firmly believe that recognizing and honoring that invisible pull is how Kismet operates. And it's not just for art stuff. I can't tell you how many people that I've been attracted to who were so wrong for me, that I was so in love with, and every single one of those relationships helped me grow, change, realize something, or even begin something new that pushed me towards my destiny. There is a reason behind every encounter, every passion, every relationship, every choice. They set off chain reactions that we cannot possibly anticipate. And they take us to places we may never have gone to. In July of 2021, Chris took me on a family vacation to Maine. We stayed in cabins around a beautiful lake. I'd never been that far north before, and it really was like a whole other world up there. I had decided to try and quit smoking that week, so I was quite emotional during the first part of the trip. I was homesick and hilariously felt really sorry for myself. And I took a lot of walks around the lake, praying the rosary, and having dabbled in some automatic writing before my trip, I decided I would try to channel the angst and write some poetry. I would try it after finishing my prayers, and hoping to receive some divine words and comfort, I purposefully let the words come without trying to second guess them. Here is a poem I wrote on that trip. Go to the place I send you, and do not ask why. Simply place one foot in front of the other and move forward with courage. I will light the way. I will clear the way. I will light your path. I will never let you get lost. You are already there and going there in the safety of my heart and hands. Though we are still friends and creative partners, Chris and I would end up breaking up by the end of the year. But look how much that one relationship gave me. It created the conditions under which my destiny could unfold. It didn't just create the conditions for my visual art to flourish, but it helped me rediscover my first love of songwriting. Something about writing poems around that lake opened up something inside of me. Songs began to pour out of me like they had when I was 16 years old and learning guitar for the first time. Since July of 2021, I have written 14 songs. Much like Our Lady of Anti-Fascism, they sometimes arrive fully formed in my head, and I simply feel as though I'm transcribing them. If I feel that ping of inspiration, I have to literally stop whatever I'm doing and give myself over to it, and sometimes it prevents me from sleeping. The other day, I even admitted to myself that I want to be a country music star. If you think this talk has been a whirlwind, I'd like you to take a moment to consider how I must feel. My life consists of being whipped around by my own passions, making a series of leapfrogs sometimes so extreme that I don't even have time to consider how it must look to others because I'm just trying to hold on for dear life. And I allow this to happen. I welcome it. Because who am I to question what sets my heart on fire? Whether it is a short burst of flame that goes out as quickly as it ignites, or a slow burn that smolders inside of me forever, the passion that we feel for people and things, It's nothing less than instructions from the divine about your fate. It is the key to your kismet. I'm not gonna lie, sometimes it will burn you, but I promise you, it's all part of a much bigger plan. So with that, I want to close with a song that I wrote that I'm playing in this picture here. And it's unsurprisingly, uncoincidentally, kind of on point with what we're talking about today. So if you will indulge me just one second. All right. This is called Something's Gotta Get a Hold of Me. Everyone is here on earth for something, but something isn't always plain to see. And if they say you're no one till you're someone, then something's gotta get a hold of me. Every day I worry about my money, rather than live my life peacefully. Please don't let it be like this forever. Something's gotta get a hold of me. I don't like to worry my poor mother. Daddy's also worried, rightfully. All I know is I want something bigger. Something's gotta get a hold of me. Everyone is here on earth for something, but something isn't always plain to see. And if they say you're no one till you're someone, then something's gotta get a hold of me. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Everybody's applause. I started crying, so excuse me. That is exactly what I needed to hear today, and all week and all month. So I'm gonna hit you up after this. But what a treat! What a treat this morning. You know, in the sense of, we heard the tin whistle and you sung that beautiful song for us, but also just the empowerment that I think your talk has, that, you know, sometimes we feel like everything is outside of our control, and the idea and showing how you have defined your own kismet, you know, is just so empowering, and a really wonderful message that, you know, we are in more control than we think we are. But, you know, something I wrote down is passion is the key to your kismet. And I think, you know, it is tough to follow that passion. And sometimes it feels like you need a lot of sometimes it feels like you need to be really brave to go do that and to make that jump. So I wanted to ask, you know, how did it feel making these choices, you know, these multiple choices to just really lean in and follow your passion?
Well, I guess, um, like it is scary because in a way I think that part of what it's kind of a trade-off because you have to make room in your life to do the things that you're passionate about because of course all of it takes time. And I think that when I quit my full-time office job in 2018, like I quit with just a general sense that I want to be an artist, and to me that meant having the majority of my time be dedicated to things that I like to do. But it has, you know, it creates financial instability. And I think I sang about that in that song too, is like every day I worry about my money, but in the same way, it's like I can't choose to live any other way because this way is most authentic to me and makes me feel like I'm living within my integrity of trying to prioritize doing the things that I love. So yeah, the trick will be trying to figure out and having faith that it will work out. That if I keep going, that eventually it will lead to more security. But I think it's also too like abundance thinking. Is like we all grow up in this like, and my parents told me so, and still to this day, like, how are you going to make money doing the things that you want to do? And so money has been programmed as a hard and difficult thing for me to get. But I think I'm still working on changing my thinking around that because I don't think it has to be that way. And yeah, so.
Yeah, a little bit of, I guess, like just because you make that leap doesn't mean that you won't be successful, right? And I think that's where abundant thinking comes in. It's funny, I heard that term for the first time this week, and now I'm hearing it multiple times. Hello, we're on subject. Yeah, I love that. So while I'm kind of, also I put in the chat, if you've got questions for Ramona, send them to me, and then I'll kind of coagulate, put them all together and ask them as I have this Q&A with you. So I'm wondering, how did, just kind of like a process question. So when you moved from kind of pencil and ink drawing to mostly working with the laminate or the, not laminate, the
Lino cut, yeah.
lino cut. Thank you. I was looking for something like that. When you moved from sketching to lino cut, how was that something that you were just kind of curious about? Did you go to a workshop? Like, how did that all happen?
Yeah, I randomly worked for Virginia Humanities. Well, not randomly. I moved here to take a job working there, and they randomly are associated with the Virginia Center for the Book, which offers like letterpress and printmaking classes. And I took a class on wood engraving, which was that first little tiny like Guadalupe scratchy print that I showed you. And I tried wood engraving for about 6 months, and it's, if any of you know anything about it, it's like printmaking, but on very soft wood, and the tools are like this, like half my fingernail, and you just make one like little scratch at a time. And my friend Sam Gray was like, Ramona, you need to try lino cut because basically this is bullshit, and you're gonna be able to get like so much more done, and it's so much more you. And she was right. I mean, lino cut, you know, you're just sitting there for like hours, and there's a pile of like rubber this big on the ground. You're just like, cut, 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 cut. So yeah, once I started doing that, I got a little addicted. I have a tendency to get obsessed with things, as you've probably been able to figure out by now. So yeah.
So, you know, as you were putting together, or as you are putting together your Oracle deck, how are you finding those images, and what, you know, is that something, did you plan all the cards out, or do you know there some cards that you need to do and others you're still figuring out? Like, how's that process been, and you know, how did you get started with that?
Yeah, so Some of them are pulled from very traditional icons or paintings. I have one that is a Pentecost, like based on an El Greco painting. But in my version, I have Mary kind of lifted up above the crowd, and she's the only one who's gotten the flame of the Holy Spirit. Because in my personal theology, I believe that Mary was the first because she had already encountered it early in her life through the Annunciation. So sometimes I'll take like traditional icons and then like kind of change them to to suit my theological ends. And then other times, like with the Annunciation, I'm just going again. With this piece, this was a piece that I knew I wanted some kind of like sensual encounter between the dove and Mary. Um, and I used myself as a model and created like a shadow against a wall with a projector and made this piece. So some of them, I think this might be, yeah, some of them are original compositions and some of them are just like lifted and toyed with from other sources.
Okay. Very cool. Any other questions for Ramona? I've got my eye on the chat. Oh, because we have Sai in the frame here.
Oh yeah, I think Abigail has a question.
Oh, yeah, go for it.
Navigating my computer. Yeah, so Ramona, you talk a lot about passion and how you've just trusted all these changes that happen, and sometimes you have big leaps. Have you ever dealt with doubt when moving through any of this? Or has it always been just very clear, like, yes, this is the leap that I'm ready to make?
Well, I actually just kind of had some come to Jesus moments about my music in the last couple of days and sort of like kind of have to have like a real conversation with myself about like how far do I want to take this really? Like what is my goal? Like why am I writing these songs? And I think part of it is faith because I sat there and I was like, is it superficial to want to be like, why would I want to be famous? Like, why would I want these songs to get to as many people? What is behind this? Is it ego? Is it for attention? Is it trying to feed a traumatized child who did not get enough attention? These sorts of things. But then I was like, you know what? God would not be giving me all these songs. The universe would not be dropping songs in my head like twice a week or sometimes like if I wasn't supposed to do something with them. And I feel like also too, my songs are a lot about processing emotions, and some of my songs are about childhood trauma. And I kind of feel like as an artist, it's okay to want your work to get out there if it will help other people. And it's okay to want it to be as many people as possible, you know? So I feel like I had some really big come to Jesus moments this week with like allowing myself to say like, yes, I want to be a big country music star, because it's like so scary to say, and the 15-year-old in me is cringing so hard right now. But yeah, so doubt, yes, I feel doubt all the time, and mostly because I just am like, I just want my life to like, if I ever go to heaven and like meet my ancestors or however it works, I want them to be like, you did good, kid, you know? I want like whoever I meet on the other side to be like, you did exactly what you were supposed to do. So pressure, man.
Can I ask a follow-up then? So in moments of doubt, I know some people will talk about that kind of feeling as a sign or like part of your Kismet saying you're in the wrong direction, right? So do you have any tools for sort of determining when doubt is useful for refining what you're doing and like recommitting versus a sign to change? Do you have any techniques or things that you do to help yourself stay devoted?
I would say the most important thing is like trying to discern where the doubt is coming from, because it might not be your doubt, right? Like if I let my parents' views on trying to live an life as an artist influence me, I could tell myself, there's no way I'm gonna make it. There's no way I'm gonna be famous. How many good people out there write good music and are better singers than I, more connected, blah, blah, blah. You can just knock yourself down so easily, but it's like, is that really mine? Is that really my doubt? So I think like once you become honest with that, for me anyway, then I go, well, I'm going to show them, you know, I'm going to show me. And it becomes a competitive thing. But
Well, thanks for the question. So we've got a follow-up on that too. When can we see you perform next?
how nice. Well, my band and I will be playing July 1st at the Fridays After 5 opening for Lua Project. We have had 4 rehearsals and somehow we're playing Fridays After 5 in July. This is what I mean when I say Kismet. It's like sometimes these things just start going full speed ahead and you hang on for dear life. So, and hopefully also at the Southern and Champion coming up soon. But if you follow me on Instagram, which is at by_ra, I'll put it in the chat. And yeah, you can follow us and my band and see when we're playing. But thank you for asking.
Yeah, I just wrote down July 1st and hopefully sooner because I missed the first one and I'm very sad I was out of town. But great. And I think we'll just ask one more. So have you ever had difficulties navigating the intersectionality of faith and other belief structures like tarot, oracle decks, etc.?
What a great question. No, because as traditional as I can sometimes be, I also don't like rules and dogma, and so I feel okay, like having faith, being in this Christian structure, blah blah blah, because for me, it's just like a framework through which I can experience the divine. I don't necessarily even believe that it's important if the Virgin Mary was actually a real person or not, or if Jesus actually rose from the dead or not. It's like these are stories that I can organize my beliefs around, but I also think that people have prayed to Mary for thousands of years, and so she is as good as real because that sort of thing has power. But also I have like deep ties to my ancestors, and so I think kind of being in that world of Mexican Catholicism, there's more room for the paranormal, I guess, the supernatural, for the dead, these sorts of things. So it isn't as big of an issue. But if you feel like your faith is preventing you from exploring things like tarot or whatever, don't ever let anyone tell you that that stuff is like, you know, demonic or of the devil or whatever, because this is like a longer story, but like there are moments in the Bible where people use divination to figure things out. Like the apostles cast lots in the book of Acts. You know, people do like bibliomancy. They like turn open to a page in the Bible and like try to get an answer. Like that's no different than tarot cards. So people are just paranoid and don't let them get you down. It's totally okay. We can talk about it more if you have questions.
Well, thank you for that. And I remembered one more question. I wanted to inquire if Sai has a flame sweater on.
That is correct. He is my demon child, speaking of demons. And so he's got flames on his sweater.
Nice. Nice. All right. Well, thank you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your energy in this talk. I know I appreciate it, and so many folks are in the chat saying thank you. That it was really an amazing way to start the day. So definitely give Ramona a follow. She also has a Patreon as well. And we'll look forward to seeing you at your next show.
Thank you all so much. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'm sure I'll see you around town. And do say hi if you come to a show.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for coming.